Okay, first thing I need to do is get my reaction thumbnail. So, Hey everyone, so if you're watching this in the first couple of hours of it being posted, then I'm currently on a flight to Seville in Spain, so please don't leave any mean comments on this video. I don't want that to be the first thing I read once I land, okay? Now, in the spirit of needing to do a video every week because, you know, algorithm, I thought today we'd sit down together and watch the top 10 strangest musical instruments by WatchMojo.com. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, WatchMojo are one of the few channels I'm aware of that uploads 4 times a day at least. Now, I don't know how they physically do it. I can only assume they must have their team in a basement with their families held at gunpoint. That was a joke, by the way. For legal reasons, I have to clarify that they're not actually doing that, to the best of my knowledge. But yeah, I thought we'd sit down, watch this together. There'll probably be a lot of pausing. I'm going to be giving my thoughts on a lot of the things I see here. So if you're likely to find that annoying, then maybe this isn't the video for you. But before we start, I know YouTubers love to show their audience what percentage of their viewers are subscribed. And well, here is mine. And honestly, this is the worst ratio I've ever seen. So please hit that subscribe button, you know, help me out a little bit. But yeah, without further ado, let's get going.
We can't believe these actually create real music. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 strangest musical instruments.
Oh, the hydrophone. Yes, I've seen this before. Or is it hydrophone? I can't remember.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
For this list, we'll be looking at instruments which are actually used to make music, but are unconventional and just...
I mean, instruments that are actually made to make music? Isn't that what an instrument is?
Unconventional and just plain strange.
When I press a key, it sends an electrical
that's the,
pulse up to a rubber
stalactite organ in 10, California, I think. Yes, one of the coolest instruments on the planet.
What's all this hurdy-gurdy? The hurdy-gurdy, of course.
That was bad enough to be one of my jokes.
Of the organistrum, which needed 2 musicians, the hurdy-gurdy was developed to only need 1. It's made of 2 main parts.
Yes,
a crank
Patty
and
Gurdy,
keys.
one of the very best to ever do it.
Which rubs the instrument strings to produce noise, and the keys create the melody. The crank can be spun harder to create different tones as well. Absolutely
brilliant, Shears. I'll hear a bit more about what they have to say and then I'll give my thoughts.
While it hasn't been that common in popular mainstream music, the hurdy-gurdy's been making a comeback in recent years, having appeared in numerous songs and movie soundtracks.
I don't remember it being used in the Polar Express, although I haven't seen it for years, so that's probably why.
Number 9, octave.
Alright, before we move on, as I said, the hurdy-gurdy is one of my favourite instruments. I'm really glad they showed Patty Gurdy in there. She's actually a dream collaboration of mine, although in order to do that, I'll need more than the 55 subscribers I have at the moment. So again, hit that subscribe button, help a brother out. But I don't necessarily agree with it being on this list of the strangest instruments, just because I don't think it's that particularly weird. I think most people are at least vaguely aware of what a hurdy-gurdy is. I may be completely wrong about that. If so, I'm sure people will be very excited to tell me. But I think a better alternative for this list would be the nickel harper, I think is how you pronounce it. It's like a cross between a hurdy-gurdy and a violin / cello. I think that's a bit more niche and a bit less common than the hurdy-gurdy. So maybe that will still appear in this video later on, we'll see.
Bass. If you want some deep bass in your music, look no further than the octabass. Effectively a double bass on steroids, it's 11 foot 5 inch or 3.48
How would you
height,
transport
means
that?
Players actually have to stand on special platforms and use levers to play it. It's great if you want to produce
that
a
must
lower
be
than low
really
bass
hard to
sound,
play.
even if human ears can't always hear it.
Sounds like a motorbike
There are
starting.
only 7 in existence, and most are in museums. However, the Montreal Symphony Orchestra obtained one in 2016, making it the only orchestra in the world to include the octabass in its numbers.
Okay, well that's quite interesting. I don't quite see the practical use of having an instrument that plays that plays notes that humans can't hear. Maybe it's kind of a novelty thing, I don't really know, but it's cool, but there's no way that I could ever own that in this small room that I have here. So yeah, let's move on. I've seen this before, the marble machine.
Marbles and music. Martin Molin is the exception. Interested in the marble machine subculture, the Swedish musician gave himself 2 months to build one of his own. He finally finished 16 months later, but the delay was worth it. It's
I mean, even 16 months to make that is impressive in my opinion.
Which, when cranked, causes thousands of marbles to fall to create a melody using bass, vibraphone, and percussion elements. Seeing it in action is simply jaw-dropping. The best part is that the marbles circulate back to the top, so there's no limit to how long you can play it.
Okay, show us what it sounds like.
Keep cranking it. Number 7.
So after all that, they're not actually going to show us what it sounds like. You know what? Because I truly care about you, my viewers, here is what it sounds like. There'll be a video playing here, but for me, I'm just pointing at nothing. Yeah, I have seen that before. I think it's a really cool instrument. 16 months to make that, I think, is actually really impressive. I dread to think how long it would take me to make something like that. But moving on.
Number 7, sharpest chord.
Sharps are chords, not sharpest chords. I know, but still.
Created by composer and sound engineer Henry Dagg, this pin barrel harp took 5 years to finish and was set to be placed in a sound garden with other musical sculptures, except that it wasn't suited to be kept outdoors. The 2.5-ton machine is also...
I mean, surely that's one of the first things you consider when making something like this. Like, imagine spending 5 years on something, then realising, oh, this can't go outdoors after all. I mean, I'm not the best at planning things, but I would have thought of that.
5-ton machine is also referred to as a pin barrel harp because it uses a giant metal barrel adorned with thousands of small pins. When the barrel turns, the pins hit levers and strings, producing the instrument's soft tones. The horns work to amplify the sound and, of course, make the instrument look more majestic. The best part is, all you have to do is spin that wheel. Number 6.
Okay, so basically it's a tune that's kind of programmed in advance, because if all you're doing is spinning a wheel and you can't choose the notes, I'm guessing you'd have to do that beforehand. I don't know, but the Picasso guitar, Pat Metheny, let's go.
Picasso guitar. In 1984,
yes,
jazz musician Pat Metheny asked luthier Linda Manzer to build a guitar with as many strings as possible. Enter the Picasso guitar.
Just look at that, it's incredible.
The Picasso definitely didn't disappoint. Its 4 necks and unusually placed headstock make it look like some kind of musical mutation. But if its mutant power is sounding this smooth, who are we to judge? Weighing a hefty 15 pounds, there were 2 holes placed in it so Metheny could play the guitar as it was mounted on a stand. Manzer's known for her otherworldly guitars, like the 52-string Medusa, so she wouldn't expect anything less of the master guitar builder. Number...
Okay, the videos they use there do not do that instrument justice at all. There's a song that Pat Metheny plays live called Into the Dream, I think it's called, and the song is just incredible. It's like an out-of-body experience listening to it. So I'm going to leave the link to that video in the comments section of this one. I really think you should check it out, whether you're a guitarist or not, whether you're into his kind of music or not. You have to check it out. It's just something that's absolutely unreal. I'd love to know whether those are commercially available. I highly doubt that they are, but I would love to own one. If anyone has any idea where I could get one of those, please leave a comment to let me know, because I know it's highly unlikely, but I would love to be able to get my hands on one of those. Anyway, moving on.
5. Earth harp. Touted as an architectural
That's interesting.
The earth harp is so huge that live listeners can literally be inside the musical device. It was built in 1999 by William Close, and while it may have taken him a while to fully master it, when he did, he brought his skills to America's Got Talent in 2012.
Okay, just to pause there. I'm very critical of those kind of talent shows like America's Got Talent, but the fact that they actually let him set his instrument up there, credit where it's due, that is incredible. I can't imagine what kind of logistical challenges that would have entailed, but they did it. And Again, an instrument that I could never fit in this room, so realistically I don't think I'll be getting my hands on one of those anytime soon.
Took home 3rd place. But his harp takes 1st place as the world's largest string instrument, with strings reaching to almost 1,000 feet long. It takes a ton of work to assemble and disassemble. But while not on tour, Close keeps his earth harp close to his workshop, attached to a mountain in Malibu, California.
He has to store it attached to a mountain.
Or glass harmonica.
Yes,
Everyone's
I've seen
run
these
their
before.
finger around a rim of glass, but it's hard to call the results music.
Okay, before we get into this, I just want to say what I know about the glass harmonica, and then I'll see if the video mentions it. First of all, it was invented by Benjamin Franklin. Yes, that Benjamin Franklin. And also, if I remember right, it was banned at one point because they thought that it turned you insane. So it was either banned or it massively decreased in popularity for that reason. But let's see what they say about it.
In the mid-1700s, Benjamin Franklin, took the idea a step further, joining 37 pitched glasses together, and instead of the player moving their fingers, the glasses themselves would rotate.
Sounds so cool. Love it.
It grew hugely popular for a short amount of time because of its heavenly crystalline sound. Unfortunately, its fragility and lack of volume made it unsuitable to play in large halls, and people gravitated towards the piano instead, leaving the glass harmonica as an endangered but unique instrument.
Now this song was made to be played on this instrument, wasn't it? It sounds so good.
Number 3.
And before we move on, it's a shame how hard those are to find because I would love one of those instruments. I saw a Rob Scallon video on it recently, which is where I learned what I mentioned before about it. It's just so cool. I know it's very breakable. I know that transporting it is almost impossible a lot of the time, but it just sounds so cool, doesn't it? Right, I've seen one of these before as well, as sousaphone.
Sousaphone.
Sousaphone, okay, however you say it.
This is by far the coolest looking entry so far.
I disagree. The hurdy-gurdy is the coolest looking entry so far. But that's just me, you may disagree.
The sousaphone, or if you're more into Norse mythology, the theremin, are types of Tesla coils that are modulated into making music.
Of all the songs you could play on that, you choose this.
These singing coils produce lightning and sound when they pierce the air. When merged with a MIDI interface, the coil is effectively a plasma speaker, which creates a dazzling display of melodic electricity.
Now that's a much better song to play on this. You can definitely see how it fits, can't you?
Sound-wise, the sousaphone sounds like a funky old-school synth, but seeing the instrument in action is another thing altogether.
What film is this?
How
I recognise
often do you
it.
get to see choreographed lightning?
Oh, I don't think I have seen that film actually, but I recognise this film.
The Great Stalacpipe Organ. Heralded as one
Okay,
of
I
the world's
mentioned that
biggest
earlier, didn't
instruments,
I?
the Great Stalacpipe.
So it's stalacpipe organ, not stalactite organ. I know it's a small thing, but I'm annoyed at myself for that.
Organ covers approximately 3.5 acres in the Luray Caverns in Virginia. It was invented by Leland W. Sprinkle starting in 1956, when he visited the caverns with his son, and the boy banged his head on the stalactite, which emitted a hum.
Okay, if I came up with an idea for an invention every time I fell and hit my head on something, I would be rivaling Nikola Tesla by now.
For shaving down rocks to get to the desired notes, Sprinkle attached mallets to them and connected them to an organ console. The instrument has a range of 37 notes, and the large cave gives it a very unique sound, but you can still feel the faint echo of the cave even when listening on headphones.
It's something incredibly different and wonderfully beautiful.
Before we unveil our top pick,
I think I said that at the start of the video that was in California. Turns out it's actually in Virginia, so again, that's something else I got wrong about this instrument.
here are a few honorable mentions.
So it is hydraulophone, not hydrophone. Okay, I'll remember that. Okay, well, where's the water in that?
Theremin. Developed in 1920, the theremin was
argue with
named
that.
after its inventor, Leon Theremin. It was one of the first electronic instruments, and the first instrument played without requiring touch. The player waves one hand to affect the pitch, and the other to affect the volume. Close waves produce higher pitches, while more distance with your volume hand gives a louder note.
It's definitely the most bizarre sounding instrument I've heard, I think.
Later joined in the horror sci-fi department by the waterphone, the theremin was the quintessential hair raiser back in the day, and still sounds eerie today.
That's what that is. I saw that film ages ago and I wondered what instrument was used on that.
It's versatile as it is novel.
It's actually surprising how old that instrument is, because when you see it you must assume that it's like a new phenomenon or something. But yeah, it's actually almost as old as the electric guitar, which is quite surprising really.
Do you agree with our picks? Check it.
Not entirely. As I mentioned before, I don't think the hurdy-gurdy should be on this list. As much as I love the instrument, I don't think it's particularly weird. So yeah, the nickel harper should be on there in my opinion. I might have also included the crystal bachet, which is another one that was in a Rob Scallon video that I thought was really interesting. And also, since they included a kind of musical landmark in the Stalag pipe organ, I also would have included the I'm gonna completely butcher this, but the sea organ in Zadar in Croatia, where basically the water enters and makes the sound, and it never stops. It's constantly making music. Eventually I want to actually go there and make like a video documentary about it. I don't know when that will happen, but I do plan on it. On the whole, I can't complain too much about that list. Has it earned my subscribe? Yeah, I suppose so. I'm in a generous mood, so I've subscribed, but I won't be watching all of the 4 videos per day that they put out, that's for sure. Anyway, so that brings me to the end of this video. Before I go, I just want to plug a couple of things. First of all, I'm soon going to be starting a brand new YouTube short series. It's the simplest concept ever. Basically, I play a song, the first person to write down the name of that song in the comments wins an award. In the beginning, the award will basically just be a shout out, but eventually I hope to give better prizes than that, maybe a pack of guitar strings or something. But yeah, that's something I'm going to be starting this week, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. And also, I regret to announce that I'm now on TikTok. I didn't particularly want to make a TikTok account, but I was advised that it was a good thing to do as an aspiring online musician. And I'm basically just repurposing my YouTube videos for TikTok, so if watching this video once wasn't enough, then you know where to go. But yeah, which instruments would you have included in this list? Do you agree with WatchMojo's picks or not? Be sure to leave a comment down below, and I shall see you all soon.